How's the table? Camera needs to go over, doesn't it? Is that better?
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, on live.
Thank you. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Shelley. Hi, Margaret. Hi. Hi, Connie. Hi, Kim. Hi, Sue. Apologies if I don't say your name. It's just I'm not always getting comments at the minute, which is a bit of a pain. Oops, I'm definitely not getting them if I don't watch the right live. Yep, you've got me, Sarah. Hi, Patricia. Hello. Oh, see, that's scrolling now. Oh, I don't want that. Right, okay. Crafting together with all brands. Oh, Sue, I'm not on at 6, love. Oh, for goodness sake. I hate my phone. It just doesn't like watching lives. Right, that's better. Okay, we're here. We're on. We're good. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jenny. I hope we're all okay today. Apologies for last week. We sort of wrote last week off, but we're all back again this week. Well, Sue, you know, I was eating my tea at 6 o'clock. Had a delicious pulled pork, loaded fries with pulled pork and cheese. It's very tasty. Hi, Sarah John. Hello. So I'll just wait another couple of minutes. I've had some pop in, some pop out. I went up to 10 and then back down to 9. But I'll just wait another few minutes. Hopefully we'll get a few more on. Oh, don't worry about it, Sue. And it's a Monday. I don't function properly till Thursday. And then it's just sort of getting going for the weekend, and that's it. Then it goes backwards again. Oh, so tonight I'm going to be using the Mushroom House set of uprights. Oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Uprights from That's Crafty that we had on Hobby Maker a few weeks ago. So I'm going to use a couple of these. There's a set of 5 to do the uprights, but I'm going to use 2 on the front of a book. So we'll be making those. And then I'm also using set 8 of my Journal It templates as well. So all the links I'll put on later in comments once I've finished it. So I'm going to make, it's like a mushroom concertina book, but I'll also be using the mushroom houses as well. The cats are okay. I've got 3, Sarah, so I've got 3 cats, but one of them's missing in action at the minute, so we're just waiting for him to come in. He's been out all afternoon and it's plumbing freezing, so he's probably got in somebody's shed. Hopefully it won't be long, and then no doubt he'll disrupt the video. Waffles at the minute is lounging on my Oodie. Hi, Jill. I had it on. I've had it on most of the day, but it got a bit hot when I was cooking. But now Waffles taken up residency on it. He does look very comfy.
He loves it.
He loves it. I know he does. I do need to crochet him a pod of his own. There's only one pod at the minute and I need to do some more. Right then, should we get cracking? And then as people join, I can do some explanations. I've got a nice cup of tea as well. So for this, I've already made one. I prepped it for last week's anyway. Hi Helen. So I've already prepped one, which is this one with the little tree stump. I really like that one. So I have already painted that one. That's ready to go on the front of the book. And I have already prepped the second one. Now the second sort of mushroom house I'm using is this one here. Oops. Is this one with the upside down little flower on the top of it. I thought that was quite nice, and because the book itself is in the shape of a mushroom, I didn't want to over mushroom it. Sometimes even though you like mushrooms, you can have too many mushrooms. Steve's going, is this so much as too much mushrooms?
It's like it's mushroom soup.
Mushroom soup, well, it's got to be a nice wild mushroom soup with the sliced cheese on toast at the bottom of the dish. That makes it nice. Oh, Shelley, if you want, that'd be marvellous. Thank you. So I'm using the mushroom uprights. Hi, Dina. And I'm also using set 8 of the Journal It templates. And I'm also using the little set of 12 multi-surface paints. Roast pork sandwich applesauce, nice. So I'm also using the little ones, apart from this one, because I've got a bigger pot of that, because it's my favourite. So I've already cut out on some grey board 2 pieces of the mushroom house, which is part of the set 8 templates. So they're going to be the front and back cover. I've also cut out an extra one of these, so this will sit on the top, and I'll layer it up with some spare grey board that I had left, so that it's just a little bit more raised off the surface, just to give it a little bit more 3D-ness. And at the back, I'm just going to add some scrapbook paper on the back of them once I've finished the front covers. I'll just lay some scrapbook paper over the top. So I would recommend, if you could do this style of house, obviously because it's got MDF, use a thick grey board or something, something like that. Hi Sharon. To make it even thicker, you could even stick 2 pieces together, and then it really gives some strength to those covers. But for now, I think we'll be all right just with a single layer of the grey board. Good evening, Glynis. Hello, 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 lady. How are you? So let's get cracking, shall we? So I'm going to start with the little MDF piece. So I'll move my little templates out of the way. And I have already prepped them. I've been a very good girl and prepped them. So I'm just going to push those pieces out now. I don't need the base piece because it's going to be standing freely on the front of the book cover, but obviously if you did want it as an upright, you would need that little base there. So I'll just push these little elements out. I painted them about half an hour ago, so I can still get all the gubbins out of them. Oh, hi Maxine, you alright, lovely? So just push those little bits out, and don't forget, whenever you're painting these MDF pieces, the detail is always etched on the front, so if there's a little bit more detail, for example these little bits here, you know that's the front of your mushroom. Like a shroom and a toadstool, there you are. So Philippa Winter McCartney may or may not join us. I know she's got visitors this week, so she's probably necking a big drink. We don't know what drink, but no doubt there'll be a big glass involved. There we go. So I've just popped all those little bits out, and we can always use that spare MDF to cut up. And then what I'm going to do is just slice this little section off at the bottom. That's the little panel that fits inside the upright section. David, hello. We're making a mushroom book. So I'm doing a mushroom journal, a concertina journal, but I'm using some MDF pieces from That's Crafty. So it's a little set of 5 Mushroom Village, Shroom Village, and I'm going to use a couple of the pieces to go on the front of a book, and the book is in the shape of a mushroom. So I thought it would be a nice themed evening this evening, with a little bit of mushroom going on, but not mushroom for anything else. So I don't think it'll be a long live, but knowing me, when I try and plan something for a short live, it still takes about 4 hours to do. But we'll see how we get on. At the minute, I'm also sewing cat lavender cushions. I've made myself a pattern all by myself of a little cat, so it's going to be like a smelly cat, I'm going to call it, for me little market stall. So that's going to be coming up this week as well. So I'll just push all the little bits and pieces out, and then on the actual base piece of it, you've got these little elements here, and they indicate where to stick your things. But just for now, I'm just going to cut that little base bit off the top with my craft knife. So just be careful with this. Steve's in the room with me, so I have got adult supervision, although he's got his eyes shut. So there we go. So a craft knife will get that off. Obviously, if you've got a bit of sandpaper to sand any edges, but I'm just going to paint around that anyway. Yeah, so the toadstool is from set 8. It's template 4A. That's the cover from that set. It's sort of a fantasy range of templates, this one. So we've got like a little mushroom house, we've got like a little snail shed, and all sorts of little bits and pieces for that one. So again, let's just cut this little panel off the bottom. There we go. Get some scissors to it now. That's it. So it just means it's easier and it doesn't have that extra bit sticking out the bottom. There we go. Okay, so let's get some painting done. And I've got a little bit of scrap paper. Now, unfortunately, I have run out of green, so I am going to mix my own green with this. Oh, do you recognise those dishes, Jill? So I'm just going to mix in a little bit of yellow and a little bit of blue. I've got a turquoise blue. So let's line my colours up. So these are the little set of 12 bottles from That's Crafty. They're really good value bottles. Some of the other ones that you see are a little bit smaller than these, and these will go a long way. I'll see if I can get some out of that green, but I know I'm very short. But not as short as some people, eh? I've got another blue. Got the white, the brown, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2 missing. One's the purple and one's the black. There we go. So a really good range of colours. Trifle dishes. Yeah, these were from the last retreat, and I just stole them. He was short. He was. Danny DeVito, he's quite short as well, isn't he? Jimmy Cranky. Right, okay, so let's get me paint going. I'm just going to mix a little bit of these two together. So a little bit of the yellow. Look how decontaminated that is. Dirty madam. So a little bit of that, and I'm going to use the turquoise blue because that's my favourite, and it's a little bit darker. So I'm just going to put a couple of dobs in and give that a mix. So I've got a nice green colour there. So there was probably about a 4:1 ratio of the yellow and the turquoise blue for this colour. And then I can also add a little bit of extra colour to either lighten or darken it as well. So that's the petal bit that will go underneath. That's the stalk stem bit. So let's get these painted up. It is cold out there, and I think it might it's supposed to snow into it this week now. So I have pre-gessoed it, so the colour should be a true colour once I've painted everything up. No sign, is there of him? You do not know where he is. Ah, boy wonder. Let's get a smaller brush for a bit more detail. So if I at least paint it in the background first, and then I can also add an extra layer of the green over the top. So I've got my first layer of green down, like that. Yeah, it was bitter cold today. I had to get another pair of gloves for myself for Thursday, because the only ones I've got are fingerless ones, and they're a bit rubbish when it's freezing cold. And then I'm going to come back in. You won't come in. Tried. Steve. That couldn't be any louder if you tried. I could hear it. He's got some earphones on. Yeah, I could hear it. I don't know. I don't know, Steve. I don't know. So I've added a little extra yellow now, just to make it more citrusy, so that I can come in just with those front little leaves. Just to add a bit of extra little shade to that, and a bit of tone, and then I'm going to add a little bit more blue. He always got headphones, it just didn't quite work to start with. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the blue now to a little section of that. And then what that does, it darkens that green up. So rather than use black or white, I'm just using the different shades of the blue. So when I come into the back of that one, it just makes it a little bit darker. So I don't know if you can see that. Just adds a little bit more dimension and depth to your pieces when you've got 2 or 3 different shades going on, but of the same components that you've started to mix the green with. It just adds a little bit more 3D-ness and makes it look a little bit nicer, I think, by doing that. So a little bit darker blue. Oh gosh, 42 degrees. Where are you, Sharon? Gosh, that sounds very, very hot. Whereabouts are you? Oh, hi Ginny, you alright, lovely? Oh no, I'm going to get my hands wet through now. You're alright, we're only just starting. I'm doing a little fantasy house with some of the templates and some of the MDF uprights. Oh, Sharon, marvellous. How long are you there for? I think that's one of the places I would like to go if I went to Australia. But we really want to go to Tasmania to go and visit my uncle. I know, wouldn't it be lovely? So I'm going to have a little... Oh, you live there? Oh, Sharon, I never knew that. How funny is that? Well then, I've learnt something new today. Dawn, hello. I thought you were on a jolly, Sharon. What time is it then there for you? Blimey Riley. Oh, okay, yeah, my uncle emigrated over there donkeys years ago. He was a vicar, a pastor, and drove round on... he's still got his motorbike. He used to turn up when he came to visit us when we lived in Manchester on his motorbike with sidecar, and on the way to the TT races at the Isle of Man. That was a regular occurrence. Oh, blimey, Sharon, you're keen. The only time I get up at... oh, well, no. On a Thursday when I have to take Steve to the station, I have to get up that early. But usually that time's reserved for going to the toilet. Isn't it, ladies of a certain age? You understand what I'm talking about. Oh, Gillian. Hello, lovely lady. Oh, don't get too complicated, Glynis, with what day it is. So with this one, I'm just going to do a very pale brown in the background. Yeah, exactly, David, but yeah, it gets to us all, doesn't it? Right, so I'm just going to go over with a very light brown to start with. So this little chocolate brown. And I've almost got a dry brush doing this because I only want a very faint colour. And I'm going to use this one to go on my mushroom as well. On the lid of my mushroom. The cap, the bonnet, whatever it's called. Glynis will tell me, she's the mushroom expert, aren't you, lovely lady? And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of grey over the little bits of brickwork. Do 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 do. Do do do. Okay, so just a little bit of colour going in just for some of the brickwork. That's okay. And then I want a nice sort of creamy colour. So I have actually got an apricot in the larger bottles of these paints. Oh, they've still got it. Bless you. I hope you don't come down poorly, Glynis. I know there's been lots of... Oh, I can't get the lid on this now. That's really annoying. Yes, I've got a nice apricot colour. But there has been a lot of lurgy about. So everybody keep up with your vitamin C and your vitamins. Philippa Winter McCartney. Philippa Winter McCartney. She's in the house. Hello, lady. Hope your visitation's been nice. So I've still got a bit of grey on my brush, obviously, because why clean it? So I'll just go over the top of these with that. It's an apricot colour. It's a lovely colour that. I often use it for skin tone as well. It's a nice lush creamy colour. And then I'll need a little bit of extra colour for the stems or the stalks. So if I get all this paintwork out of the way, and then I'll take this scrap piece of paper away, and then you can see what's going on properly. So just a little bit of the stalk there, but I've got the extra stalk bit there to stick on top as well. So I'll just need to watch though, because I'm using it as a book cover, I need to make sure that all these little fiddly elements are really, really stuck down. Oh, what a shame. Right, so I've got them, I've got them, I've got that. That's the little box for the flowers. So I'll do a little turquoise box, and then I'll do some nice red flowers. There we go. Oops. So I've caught up on all my All Creatures Great and Small. I've caught up on all my Call the Midwife. I've caught up on all my Death in Paradise. So I might start another binge watch series very soon. Purple. I'm not going to do red, I'm going to do purple. There we go. So much detail on these MDF pieces. They are such a lovely project to do. And especially because I'm going to use them for books, they'll go even further. So I've also got the sunflowers as well, so they're going to go on books. Just think they're lovely. Sorry for the little period of quiet then, because I was just slurping my tea before it goes completely cold. So the glue of choice is that's Crafty glue, but I've peeled the thing off it. It's the multi-purpose adhesive, which is my go-to tacky glue. And every now and then I just have to degunge the lid of it, because I always cut the top off it. Because I'm using it more or less all the time, I can't be mithered with the lid. There we go. Let's release the Kraken. Okay, right, so let's get this stuck on. So you don't need a different wood glue or anything like this for this MDF. The multi-purpose glue is just great. It's just great. Oops. So that it all should slot in place and fit together. And that just slots down there. I'll just make sure everything's nice and lined up. And then just add the other little elements. Now with the little window frame, what I usually do is add a little bit of light behind it, So in this case I'm just using a little bit of white. Sometimes I'll use a lemon or an orange colour, but it just indicates that you've got windows there. You could even use a little bit of the grey as a window, but I'm just going to use a little bit of white behind it. Like that, just to brighten that background. I'll give it a little bit of a blast with the heat gun. And then that can get stuck behind. Because I've had my glue upside down, it's all oozing out now like a belter. So that can then line up over the top. We've got our lovely little window box that can go on. Now with this house there's no door. That's okay, I think you take the lid off to get inside. Oh, where's my little flowers? Oh no. Oh, that glue's oozed everywhere. Right, panic not. Oh, there they are. Lost my little layer of flowers. Let me just get my tweezers, because that's rather fiddly. Oh, and I still haven't found my best tweezers either. They went on the floor a few months ago, so they've gone forever and a day. So that'll just fit, but just the difference it makes just having that little bit of white in the window as well. It obviously makes everything a little bit more realistic, because you do get houses like this out in the wild, don't you? Especially in the woodland around near us. Have you seen that big blob of glue there that I've spilt? I'm trying not to let you notice that if I just use it out the way. I've got an apron on, so at least that's something. And then it just has a little outline there of where to put the layers, so everything's worked out for you. And then let's just get this little bit of, oh, that glue's oozing, stop oozing. Well, you sort of have to look at them with half closed eyes, Helen, I think. Sort of, you don't turn your head when you're looking, just out the corner of your eye. That's when you see them. I don't know what they're for, because they don't fit. They don't fit. Do they need to go that way? No, I don't understand where they're for. They came out of that mould, didn't that shape, didn't they? Or am I putting something on that was from a different thing? I don't even know where the bit I've took away is. Oh, I know why. Because you have to put them further up. That's why. No, I've not painted him the wrong way up, Sue, for a change. It's because it makes like a cup shape. So, panic over. We know what we did. We know what we did. There we go. Let's tweezer them on. So there is so much detail. It is rather lovely. No, that's why I gesso them in one go to start with, on the right side, and then I know I've not gone wrong, because if I take them out and then paint them, it's just going to be carnage. So I just tend not to do that. I know some people struggle then to get them out of the base, but if I'm pushing from the other side, they come out for me no problem. And you could always run like a little craft knife around the edges very carefully if you're going to be struggling getting the bits out. But it's a really thick MDF, this. It's always very top quality from That's Crafty. Very, very good quality. Right, so there's my little house. So that will sit alongside this one. So I'm going to do like a little layered look. It might work, it might not work, but we'll just see. We'll just see. That's all we can do. Okay, so now what I want to do is just paint these bits. So these are from the grey board covers. So I've got one for the front and one for the back. So for this one, choice is yours. I can do a red top with the beige background, or I can do a brown top with a beige background. So I'm going to leave it to you to just discuss very quickly what colour you want me to do my main mushroom house, and I will oblige. It's entirely up to yourselves how you want me to do it. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to discuss the colourways, and I will. But I'm not doing blue. Put it that way. I want a nice mushroom colour, but the choice can be up to you. And I'll start layering it. Time's a ticking. Red top for Helen. Any more for red top? Because I have got a few red tops on the tree trunk. Red with spots. Brown will go with your smaller toadstool. Yeah, yellow. See? So I've got that one. And I've also got that one. Yep, I've got that one. And I've got that one. Going together. Red top. See, we've got a choice. But I am gonna layer it. I need to make sure that's stuck down. But it's going to be slightly layered. Red top, red. I'm not doing yellow spots. Red. Glynis says red. That's it. Red. Red it is. Oh, great ones have spoken. Oh, great ones have spoken. Okay, so let's get these painted. Oh, it's too late now, Sarah John, to come in with your red. We'd already decided. Red it is, right. So really nice red. And I'm trying to apply the paint in a curved manner. Just so that it helps with the 3D-ness of it. Rather than painting straight lines up and down. As the paint dries, it just adds that sort of sense of movement of the flat piece of grey board. Just like that. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is add a little bit of red to my little pot. And because I've got green in there, what it will do is just make a darker shade of red. So that's another way of darkening your colours without adding black, and it having like the complementary colour. So the red with the green will help make a darker red. So what I want to do there is just go in the side bit there. So I've just added a little bit of the red to this green, and it's almost made like a brown red, but without adding the brown. So that's what your complementary colours can do as well for you. But I'm actually talking about complementary colours. I'm going to be doing some small 1 hour work, well, £10 workshops they're called, tenner Tuesdays, but we were laughing either a TENA or TENNER, tenner Tuesdays, but basically small workshops that are just on a Facebook Live, just with either some little projects, they're a little bit more in depth than these freebie lives, but also with some techniques. I'm actually going to do a colour theory one for one of the tenner Tuesdays, so dates and those I'll be putting up soon. So if you are interested, just pop along to my own page, either Liz Wheeler or Liz Wheeler Designs. Yeah, so I've actually got one this Sunday which will be using set 7 of my templates, and it's going to make a really nice gatefold album. So there's no kits being sent out, it's literally an online tutorial, but it's just going to be a bit more in depth than some of my lives now. So if you see what it does now, it just adds a little bit of shade going on there. And then I'm just going to add, so that's the top bit, I'm just going to add a little bit of paint around the edges, just so that once I've put the lid over the top of it, I haven't got anything white showing up behind it. So a little bit of red all the way round. I'll give that a quick blast and I'll stick it down, and then I'm going to use some of that apricot for this for the chunky body of it. Just give this a quick blast. You mean you haven't got it hanging up behind you at all times, Helen Priestley? Very disappointed. So again, a nice little blob of glue. I do need to top up my glue, but I have to say I'm just waiting for Laura from That's Crafty to put the pre-order on for the new Tzatziki Stamperia that's coming out. So I put that on my order when I pre-order that. I'm saying it quietly, but Steve's got his earphones on so he can't hear me anyway. But I have got my MOT due this month as well, and I think a couple of tyres are needed just to make things even nicer. Okay, so I've got that, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit more brown just underneath it. But if you can see there how you can make that brown just with that red and green. To be honest, a lot of the colours that you use when you mix them together will make a you'll always get a brown, but it'll either be a reddy brown or a bluey brown or a purpley brown, just depending on what colours you mix together. But that will all be explained in the colour theory workshop as well. That'll be available very soon. So a little bit of the brown, let's just add that to the pot. And then this is I'm just gonna run that underneath, just for a little bit of shadow. And then I'm just going to come in down the side And the problem when you mix it with green, it does look a little bit yaki colour. Yaki colour is a colour, isn't it? So again, a nice sort of curved brush stroke coming round there. And now I'm going to come in with my apricot. So I will try and not decontaminate this time. Try very hard. So let's start in the centre first. So even though I'm going quick, I'm sort of still going in that curved shape. And then bit by bit, because that acrylic is still a bit wet, I can just start blending in just at the side. I'm going to get my tissue just to wipe some of the excess off, just so I'm not contaminating it too much. And then curving round that bit there. And then I'm just not pressing on as hard now. I'm just lightly blending between those two colours. Wiping off excess paint. And then continuing, just sort of dragging those two colours to blend them together a little bit more naturally. So I'm coming to the other side of that now to blend that together. And then I can go in with a little bit more brown on this side, just to darken up those edges a little bit. But it just looks natural now doing it step by step like that. It has a real sort of a real shape and a real movement to it. And by doing that, it's sort of got a natural little bit of light down the centre there as well. And that's just how I've done with the shading. It's nice, isn't it? Just makes it look nice. And it gives it, because I've used an extra piece for the top as well, it gives it extra depth as well. So I'm just going to come back in with a little bit of that brown around the top. And then let's get a bit more of this red to blend in with it. That's it. So again, it just gives it a little bit more 3D-ness. So I'm going to give it a little bit more darker red round here with that brown. Thanks, Sharon. So again, just adding a little bit of darker colour to my brush. So I'm not adding any extra paint, I'm just using what's still left in my pot, because all of those colours work together. I've not added really anything extra. So let's just get the top of that. So it really just gives it some movement. So that's that. I'll let that dry a second. But I also, well, the back, I'm not bothered about the back. I suppose I could paint it the same. I'll do it quick while that dries, because I'm not really that bothered about the back. But we might as well do it properly, eh? Because actually putting the book together is quite quick. So let's get me red again. I'm coming quite liberal with this. And again, for the back, if you wanted to, you could also put another top on the top of this as well. And because it is a concertina book, you could even put a mushroom on either side, one on the front cover, one on the back cover, because potentially there isn't really a front or a back to it, because it is going to be a concertina journal. So that just means it can be a sort of a this way, that way book. It does not really matter which way up it goes. So again, a little bit of the brown underneath, like that. Let's get some of that going on that side. Let's just dip a bit of that brown across there, a little bit across there. All right, Philippa Winter McCartney, have a lovely evening. Behave yourself, Mrs. Let's just clean that brush. And then just start again, sweeping that colour backwards and forwards. And then let's get some blending going on. If you're doing it like this, you do have to have a little bit of speed on you, just because it is acrylic paint. It does dry quite quickly, and once it's dry it's permanent. So you haven't got loads of wiggle room, but a little bit. But just have like your damp tissue at the side of you, just so you can keep cleaning your brush while that paint is still a little bit wet. Let's get a little bit for the side there. And then let's get a bit more brown for that real edge. That's it. That's your lot. Very good, very good. Nice. That's it, and I'll just smooth a little bit more of this apricot. So these are in a bigger pot, these are a 60ml pot. The other ones are slightly smaller, but they do go on for a long time. There we go, so that'll do for the back. That'll do, donkey, for the back. So let's get the front. I'll just give that a quick blast as well with the heat gun. That's more or less dry, that now. But I'll give it another quick heat blast. Okay, that's that for there. So what I want to do now is just add some dots of white for the little circles. Okay. Try and get a decent brush for this. So just random white dots. It does help if your brush isn't hairy with sticking out hair. Because eventually the circles get bigger and bigger and bigger. That brush might be a bit too big actually, I'll go for the smaller brush. I do like a red toadstool. I think that'll do. think that's enough. Maybe just a few little more. Because once you start, you can't stop, can you? Little ones. What do you reckon? That'll do, won't it? That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Yeah, that'll do. Let that dry. Do a few for the back cover. So probably better with a smaller brush to do this. My other brush was a bit too big. That's not quite dry. Naughty girl. Never mind. Oh, Glynis, I'm sorry, lovely. I didn't think about that, bless you. I got German measles. Oh no, I got German measles when I was a kid, but I got chicken pox in my first week at university. I had to come home the second week. Yeah. In my first year. So at least I got all the parties done, but then I missed the first week of term when work started. Right, that'll do for spots, because Glynis is seeing spots in front of her eyes now. There you go. Right, that'll do for that. So I've got the front and back covers done. So what I need to do now is get the inside pages cut up ready. So let me just shift all the wet gubbins out of the way. So let's get my tub. Let's get everything popped back in there. Okay, I think just the gesso to go in. Right, so that's that. So for the actual inside pages, we have this template, and what this does, it allows you to create concertina pages. So let's just shift that behind. So it just means for this style of book you can have as many pages as you want. So let's get my cartridge paper. I'm not going to use all these sheets, but I've got a few sheets there. Let me just give my hand a bit of a wipe. So I don't get paint on the pages for change. Steve? 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 Do you want to try the boy? Just to see if he's around. Right. See, I'm being a very good girl. I'm getting all the dirty gubbins off my hands. Is he there?
Yeah.
He's here. The boy's back. He's not had his tea.
Kitty.
I don't think Kitty's had his either. But do it quietly so Waffle doesn't wake up. He's back in now, Sarah. Caroline, hello lady. Hello Trudy. Oh, you did that beautiful travel theme one, didn't you? I've still got it, Glynis, but it's on its way back to you because we need to rendezvous, don't we? With that there, Philippa Winter McCartney. Okay, right. There's the template. So I tend to either get A3 or A2 pages and cut them down just because I'm doing that many books. but you can usually get 2 from an A4 sheet if you do it the right way. So if you imagine that's your A4 sheet, you can get 2 pages from each. So I'm just going to draw around it. I'm just going to do maybe 8 pages. Yeah, once this snow and bad weather's stopped, a nice rendezvous as well. So I'm just going to draw down the little spine as well. It's not very cold. He'll have been in the shed and hidden.
Nothing to do with the shed.
I know, but he is a master hider, isn't he? He wouldn't pop his head up and say hiya, Dad, would he? He'd keep well camouflaged and hidden, that boy. Yeah. I don't know how Steve got that shed door open, to be honest. I know, and we've got the retreat coming up soon, so we'll have a massive rendezvous there. I'm very excited about it. I went to Home Bargains this morning with my mum, and I always sort of start looking for things at this time now for the goodie bags and stuff. So last year, I think everybody got you got an Easter bucket, didn't you, with little rabbits on front of it? Yeah, so everybody, they all get all bits of all sorts. But yeah, last year was Easter themed because it was March. So I have been on the lookout for some nice little bits and pieces to put in the goodie bag. Well, it's sort of closed, Glynis. It's sort of closed with something propped against it. Isn't it, Steve? The shed door's sort of closed, isn't it? Yeah, after a fashion. I'm only using this just because I'm going through 2 sheets at once to get 8 pages. Not a one sheet, but 2 sheets. Oh, he won't go. No, he's usually pretty good at night though, Sarah, because if he does need to nip to the loo, he'll come straight back in when it's cold. But he must have been in shed. He must have been somewhere, because Steve said he wasn't very cold. You got some Easter bunny bells for the door. Oh, I love it. There's some lovely wreaths and that going around already. Just getting through blooming Christmas and it's Easter already. Okay, because I've not got the markings on the piece of paper behind, I'm going to score both at the same time, and because it's cartridge paper it will still crease between all of it. Your paper will crease. Your paper will crease. Oh. Alright, Margaret, I'll catch up with you soon, lovely lady. What time are we on? Oh, it's just gone 8. Hey, I'm doing alright. We're not overdoing it. Right, so I'll go down all of them, but I may not necessarily use all of the flaps. So the flaps are for connecting each of the concertina pages, but depending on how I stick it to the cover, I may not need all of the flaps. So we'll just see where we're up to. But I do like a little concertina book. I think they're fun little books, and it just means you can add loads of pages to them. And especially with this fantasy theme, they're great for kids' stories, kids' drawing books and kids' fairy tale books. There we go. So each of those has got like a little side flap. So if I fold them all in the same direction, but I won't stick them on in the same direction. Okay, so what I want to try and do is like a concertina, so it means that one's going to be mountain, one's going to be valley. So I'll put glue on the back of this. So I folded the flap over, and then the next one, the flap's going to be to the left. So the first one with flaps to the right, next one flaps to the left. And I'm just going to keep layering and layering with alternate flaps. So you can either use double-sided sticky tape or you can use tacky glue, whatever you want to use. I think with this, I'm actually going to use some of the tissue tape, also available from That's Crafty. So I'm just going to add a little bit to the folded edge, like that. Just pull a little bit over so that I can line it up before I stick it down properly. And then when that's all lined up, I can pull that tab away. So I'll just get all of these lined up. So as long as your folds are all folded the same way, all you do is just alternate which side your flaps on. Oh, I've took all of that off now because I wasn't paying attention. So let's carefully line that up. That I haven't done because I'm a naughty girl and took the tape off. That'll do. So it is a nice strong tape, and you can tear it as well. You don't have to use your scissors. But using tissue tape as well, it doesn't warp your paper as well. Because sometimes you can overdo it with your glue and your paper gets a bit warped. The pages are about 4.5 by 7, something like that. So they do make not a bad size really for working on. And especially if you want to do it for an art journal. Obviously you can open the pages out so you've got a double spread as well. Oh, what's that? Blooming string under that there now. Get off. Well, it might be cotton actually, because I've been cutting out my cats with fabric. There we go, get off. Bit of loose thread there. Oh, I've took it off again now. Naughty girl. Nearly there. But I think 8's a nice number for a concertina book. Right, don't pull all the thingy off. Don't do it. Okay. You right, Kit P? What's the matter, mate? Hey? You right there? My book's in the way. Wait a second then, let me shift them let's move all these out of the way so you can sit there. Oh, oh no, get off, get off, get off. Get off. You're a little devil. I'm moving them so you can lie down. He's alright there, he's just getting me little ribbon off my diaries. So he can sit there. He's a right aggravator. There, so that's me, the tall concertina. Okay, so what I usually do, have it so that the first one opens the other way. So what I've got on the middle now is all these little flaps on the inside. So what I'm going to do is turn those round now. So I'm going to refold all of my folds in the opposite direction. Yeah, so all my flaps are the other way now. So my flaps I've changed over, so I've refolded all of my pages in the opposite direction to which they were first folded. You're funny. So that when I open the first page, it doesn't have the little flap, the flaps there on the other side. So that's how I want it, so that that first flap, as you open the page, opens flat. And then what I'm going to do is this last page, I'm going to cut this flap off. Yep, so I've refolded the creases in the opposite direction so that when I first open my little concertina book, there's no tabs on show. There's tabs throughout, but there's no tabs on that first page just because I don't like it. But then when you come on the back, you haven't got the tabs on some of the pages, but you have on some of the other pages. But just that first page, I like it tabless. And then this side, I'm just going to cut this tab off the end. So whenever you do it, your first and your last page are just going to be the size of the page without any flaps, because the back of these are going to get stuck to your inside cover of your book. So however many pages, if you do 8 pages, 10, 20, whatever, I always cut the last tab, that last little flap off the end, and it opens like that. So I've got a book that opens like that and has the last page without a tab. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, so that's my little concertina part done. So what I want to do now is get my front and back cover lined on the inside. So swings and roundabouts, which is the front, which is the back. That's the front because I've got that top page on it, but they both look equally as good, don't they? So all I want to do now is just add some, I was going to add some scrapbook paper on the inside, but I might just use some brown card actually. I've gone into my paper mill stash of this brown, chocolate brown card, so I'm going to use that on the inside. So let's just line each of those with a bit of this brown card. Come on, glue. Come on, glue. I might have to not wait until the release of the Stamperia collection from Laura. I might have to just bite the bullet and get some new green paint and some more glue. It's just these essentials that I always run out of. There we go. I'm just going to rub around the edges with my finger, just so it gets right to the end, because it's going to be covering the covers. I don't want it coming loose or flapping. We don't want no flappages. So let's get that on there. That's one side. And make sure you glue it the right way. Don't be gluing your picture side down, or else that would be a right numpty move. Just wiping it right to the edge. And get that stuck down. Bish bash bosh. So also, if you do, because I know I've got some decent scissors that'll cut round grey board, but if you haven't and it's a real pain, do this bit on card that's easy to cut round, and you could even have your book as a rectangle rather than, and just have this as a shape on a rectangular book cover. But I actually want my cover to be this shape, so all I'm going to do is just get me scissors and chop round it. The worst bit is the curved bits, but you know, if you want some nice quirky things, you just have to have a little bit of pain every now and then, when you're cutting out. I mean, I've got a little craft knife I used on the grey board when I was first cutting it out. But a decent pair of scissors, you should be able to cut through all of that. And if you wanted to take a little file to it, bit of sandpaper, something on any of your rough edges, you can do. Also, try not to have glue all over your fingers as you're cutting it out. But honestly, the worst bits are just round this curve. So if you've got smaller scissors, I would suggest you use them and not use your big, massive, chunky kitchen scissors. But that's okay. That's okay. Just get into those little nooks and crannies. Thank you. Hello, stranger. You'll have to get down, mate. Go on. We love you very much, but you'll have to shift. Come on, Mummy's doing a live. Get down. Go on. Keep going. Don't just stop there halfway through. Get in your pod. There it is. So that's the front cover. And now the back cover very quickly. And if you're really worried about getting like any little khaki bits, just paint a little bit around the edge first with some brown paint or whatever colour, the colour that matches the cardstock that you're using, or a bit of distress ink or some VersaFine Clair, just to edge the card, the back of your grey board, before you stick the card on. I mean, you could even draw around the template first on the card and then cut the card out, so it's easier than trying to cut round a shape. But anyway, we've managed. Oh, thank you, Helen. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's my back cover. That's my front cover. And they vaguely match. And then what I'm going to do is just edge around the top of that with a little bit of my VersaFine, if I can find my little jobbies to go over the top, my little sponges. Thank you, Sarah John. So I'm using the fallen leaves for this one, just because it's brown, and I'm just edging round it. You can use paint or whatever, but I just think adding a little bit of ink around the edges just finishes it off as well. But just be careful when you leave this out, these blooming daubers, because you get it on your paper when you're throwing things around your table, you know, like you do. I was in a right bookbinding mood this weekend. I've made loads of books. I made those lovely door books, Coptic stitched them, but then I've also made some Frankenstein page ones with some acrylic wax covers covered in them, so they've been nice. I've made a ton of them, and now I'm on to my cat lavender cushions. I've also crocheted 2 wind spinners as well while watching TV in bed. Well, a bit of rubbish YouTube. There we go. So it just finishes it off, because you do sometimes get that little sort of grey or white core when you're layering your pieces up. There we go. So that's that. I'm also just going to edge around some of these little pieces as well, just to soften them a bit. And especially where I chopped a little bit off the bottom. Off that one and that one. Okay, right. So let's construct everything. Thank you very much, Shelley. Thank you very much. And like I say, if you're edging round for a book or something, I would highly recommend using permanent ink rather than distress ink, just so it doesn't smudge. But do let it dry, so either the Nocturne or the Fallen Leaves, but any of the VersaFine Claire I would recommend. Right, let's shift my wires. Let's just tidy the decks while I put everything together. Okay, so let's get our book covers. So front and back covers. Turn them round. So what we've got here is our little concertina page. So what I'm going to do is line it up. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this and line it up towards the centre, and just at the bottom bit there where it's sort of almost level. I don't want it too low or the little white points will come through on the front. So I'm just lifting it up, and it's just where the 2 points, the corners of each of the pages, just almost touch that curve on the mushroom base. That's where I'm going to stick it. Yep. So I'm going to do a little bit of double-sided first on either side. Just going to peel some of that back, and then I'm just going to use a little line of this glue just around the edge, but I'm only doing a very thin layer of glue just around the edge. I don't want to do it in the centre of that because it could mark through. Okay, so I'm lining it up, making sure it's the right page that's open first, and stick that down. So try and get it as level as I can, and then just whip those 2 bits of tape off there and there. Okay, so that's my front page done, and then this section here gets glued to the back of this in almost the same way, so it is easier to line it up by the covers rather than the pages, if that makes sense, because obviously you're sort of trying to line it up while it's open. You can do it like that, but you also want to make sure that your covers line up at the same time as well. That's the most important bit, rather than your pages being stuck down, is that your top and your back cover line up. So again, let's just flip that over and put some tape and some glue on it. Let's fold those again. Like that. And I'm just going to try very carefully to make sure that's lined up either side, and then when I open that up I can then just take those little bits of tape off either side and make sure that's stuck down. Okay, so that's my book done, apart from the little mushroom features. So it'll open up like that. Yep. And it's nicely stuck down on the back, and it opens nice and evenly as well. So that's what I mean. You can do as many pages you want, but try and do an even number of pages, and then it works out for you, so you're just cutting that last little tab off to stick it into the back page of your book. But like I say, it works both ways, but doing it this way, obviously you've got that page behind, so you can do it as opening both ways. It doesn't really matter because you're going to use the back pages, but to get it to open like a book, you just need to reverse the folding when you first do it. Okay, and now what we've got is our little features here. Now what I'm going to do with these, just because I want to make sure that they're properly fastened and stuck on, I'm going to use some of the Pentart Heavy Body Gel. I think Laura might have some, I just don't know where my That's Crafty one is, but there is either a That's Crafty Heavy Body Gel, there's a Pentart Heavy Body Gel, but I would definitely recommend a Heavy Body Gel to stick these MDF pieces down. It's a really strong adhesive, proper sticky, and apply it with a palette knife or something like that. So what I want to do is just arrange my ensemblage now, so that I've got a little bit of that on that side, so that's going to be flat on that side. So all I'm going to do, let me just flip it over, and I'm just going to put a little pencil mark where I don't need to put the glue. So I've just marked a little line so that I know that bit's going to be sticking over the edge. So everything else, you can see it's really gloopy glue. Oh, that cat's snoring away now. And then I don't do it smooth. I tend to tap it up so that it's got some texture to it, some raised areas. It just helps it grip the page a bit better. And just be careful as well that you don't necessarily put it right to the edge, because when you do push it down it does smoosh out the side. And this is a glossy one. It doesn't really matter if it's glossy or matte because it's going to be hidden. I would prefer the matte one, to be honest, but I've just run out. But when it oozes out, and it will dry a little bit clear, but it has a little bit of a gloss tint to it, so sometimes I have to go back in with my paint. So that I'm just going to line back up on the side there, and then this little beauty is going to be raised a little bit more, so it really is 3D off there. So what I'm going to get is that spare bit of MDF, if I can find it. I don't know where I've put it. I don't, oh there it is. So this bit here, so let's get that little section. I'm going to cut that in half because I want to build up a couple of layers. There we go. So I've just used my craft knife and snapped that off. But by adding that a couple of times, you're raising that surface, because I want to raise it above the level of that one, if you see what I mean. So it's got something to attach itself to. Yep. So I'm just going to cut a few more pieces from this spare piece here, and they'll just snap off. So that's why I don't waste these little bits, especially if you're layering up some 3D beautiness. You will snap. But if you struggle snapping it, just your craft knife will do. Try and tidy some of the edges up a little bit. Okay, so I just need to work out now where I can position it so it won't be seen. So I think that should be okay. I'll just chop a little bit off the end of that. So, you know, don't waste these little bits because they will come in handy. So that can go there, that can go there, and that just needs to come to the side. Okay. So it's just a matter of laying these up now. Again, I'm going to use some of the Heavy Body gel to stick these down. So that's my basic surface area, is that little rectangle there. So what I'm going to do is just add the extra layers on top of that bit there. I mean, you could use grey board, but because this is the same thickness as the mushroom houses themselves and that little tree stump, I might as well use what I've got there, so I know it'll be the right height to play with. Right, just move that across a little bit. I'll move that sideways on, like that. So that now has a little bit of body to it. I think I'll do one more little layer, and that is, I'll put that on the top, and that should be enough. I mean, I could have been more precise with that, to be honest, but I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. So again, let's pop that over the top, so at least it's, if it's level, it'll work. And then that over the top of that. So I'm not being skinny with my Heavy Body gel. Add a little bit of texture to it. And then that then can just sit on the front of that, and it just gives me a little bit of height then, and a little bit of 3D-ness to this book. And then I could put a little title across the top if I wanted to. But I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool as it is, to be honest. But knowing me, I will put something on the top. Just put that in my water pot. Put the lid on that. Let's just move that down a little bit. But there we have, and let me just show you. So sideways on, it's got real depth to that. If I just tip it up for you to see. It's got real depth to it. I mean, I don't want to move it too much at the minute because I need that to stick. I need that to stick down because it's just sliding down a little bit. But there we have our beautiful little mushroom house. Now, if you wanted to, you could always add a little bit of greenery underneath, you know, a little bit of moss or something like that underneath it if you wanted to, just to fill the bottom bit in. But there we have our little beautiful mushroom house. So there we go, lovelies. I've really enjoyed that tonight. It's come out better than I thought. I've surprised myself. There we go. So I'm not going to open the book because I need that to dry. But I'll put pictures on of the finished piece as always. And if you're a little bit worried about this little bit at the back, you could always add a little piece of card folded over, so something that looks a little bit like this with a bit of the brown card, something like this that will just glue down, so something like that will just sit underneath that bit, you know, just to hide all your workings there. So I might do that later, is just put a little bit of brown card underneath it like that, just to hide all of that. But there we go, that's our little, oh see, I keep moving that now, our little concertina book. So I'm not going to mess with it now because I need that just to dry. But there we go, so we're done. That's lovely. Thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed that tonight. So I'm back on Friday, I think, on my Journal It Templates Club. For anybody that hasn't joined, please message me to join. So it's the Journal It Templates Club with Liz Wheeler, usually a Friday afternoon live. Keep your eyes out for my workshops. So the next one I'll be doing, probably will be next Tuesday, but you can watch them whenever. You don't have to be there watching it live. It's going to be a colour theory one. So there's going to be all sorts of different techniques ones, but just a bit more in depth in these lives. Alright, lovelies, let's just try and shout Steve so we can turn the live off. But we'll see you next time, lovelies. Thank you so much for joining in. See you soon. Steve! Steve! We finished. We're finished.
Okay.
We're finished. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.